Hi everyone, I'm so happy to see you. Now, still working out my tech. We have got a great essay today. We've got Mohammed Farouk's, and it's another Discuss Both Views. And I've chosen another Discuss Both Views essay because it's one of the most common question types. So it's really important that we know how to respond to this question. My face looks a little bit bright. Look a little bit crazy. Let's see. Can I make this higher? Maybe that's fine. Anyway, how are you doing? Put that there. Hi, Anita. It's lovely to see you. Hi, Shioni. I've been really enjoying your photos and pictures on Facebook. So let's share my screen and let's look at Mohammed's. Hey, Edeline. Let's look at Mohammed's essay. Now, there he is. Hey, Mohammed. I've chosen, so I'm getting quite a volume. So a volume means a big number. So this is a really good word to use in your IELTS. But I'm getting quite a volume of essay submissions now, as you can see. So what I do is I go through them quickly. I simply can't do feedback for free for everybody. And I choose the one which I think will benefit students the most in terms of it's good, but there are some things that I can show other students to avoid, and I can show this person what to improve. So what do we do? Share screen, share screen. Okay, share screen. Share screen. Share screen. I'm still working out how to stream into YouTube at the same time. Now, Mohammed, your essay was on the long side. So I try and encourage students to write kind of 300 maximum, and you have written 338. So the problems with this is that you're most likely not going to have time to write that many words. And the other thing is, two other things, is that the more you write, more chance you have of making errors. And the third thing is that in order to score a band 8, every single sentence needs to be relevant. It needs to have a purpose and connect beautifully with the previous sentence and the subsequent sentence. So if you write a long essay, it's likely some of your sentences aren't going to be really, really relevant. They might be. I'm actually going to be giving the group an essay that I wrote in the academy with some students, or the students wrote it in the academy. I was so pleased with it. It was so simple. I sent it to our examiner, who gave us a band score, and it was 8. It was a band 8. And in the second body paragraph, it didn't have any examples, and it didn't have a paragraph summary. So let's see, Mohammed. We'll make this a bit bigger, and then I'll boost the screen size. So let's look at this essay. So let's look at the introduction together first. So the question is, some people feel the best way to reduce the number of accidents on the road is to further limit the speed of vehicles. Others think that there are better ways to tackle this issue. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Now, I have titled this feedback, One Word to Avoid. And I like Mohammed's essay very much, but there's one word in this essay that I would like to encourage everybody, and you, Mohammed, not to use. It's going to damage your score. So discuss both these views. Do you think people should reduce, reduce their speed? Or do you think there are other ways to reduce accidents on the road? Let's see what Mohammed says. While some believe that in order to decrease the number of accidents on the roads, the government should set a certain speed limit on vehicles, Others feel that there are better ways to curb this problem. Now, okay, good. In my opinion, the authority should conduct driving tests every year to mitigate the percentage of the accident. Okay, I like your introduction. It's good. You've started with a complex sentence. You probably need a comma here in order to okay, maybe leave it without a comma. So your thesis, in my opinion, great. The authorities, no reason for capital A, small a. When we talk about the government, just singular, the institution, then we have a capital G. If we say governments plural, small g. So in my opinion, the authority should conduct driving tests every year to mitigate the percentage of the accident. So you don't mitigate a percentage. Those don't go together. So you could say to mitigate this issue or to reduce the percentage, and then this is incorrect, of the accident. So you've got singular accident of one accident. So we're talking about all accidents. So it's going to be plural. So you can say reduce here. Mitigate doesn't really talk about numbers. Mitigate talks about the effect of something. So it's not numerical. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm just checking my other screen to see if there are any comments. And I have a huge favor to ask you. You'll see that I've been promoting some training that I'm doing that I'm really happy to be doing with you. Loads of students have said, I didn't get an email. So could you let me know? As always, my passion is with teaching, not with tech. Could you let me know if you signed up and if you got the email? Because maybe there's something broken with my system. So, right, his introduction's great. The correction I've made is reduce, not mitigate, because mitigate talks about effects, doesn't talk about numbers, and the percentage of accidents, not one accident. So let's go to his first body paragraph. Now it's long. See what you think about this. Now the word that I don't want people to use is in this paragraph. Let me see comments. And then I'll give you a band score at the end. I should get another screen. I should get another computer. Right, where is this video? Great. Yes, Mohammed, you said it. Yes. Naba, you got the mail for the great. Maybe I've just not been promoting it enough. Super helpful. Thank you very much. You got the email. So something's working. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Mohammed actually got it himself. So to begin with, there are those who opine. Let me tell you about this word opine. I don't want to tell you my age, but I'm going to tell you my age. I'm 40. I just turned 40. And I'm a native English speaker. I'm an English graduate and an English teacher. And I never heard the word opine until I started teaching IELTS and started looking at IELTS groups. So it's a word that has been taught to some students that might boost their score and sound intelligent. But when I read it, I think, oh, it sounds so awkward and awful. So that it's too, we say over the top. So this is for everyone. I'm not having a go at you, Mohammed. It's just unnecessary. There are those who you can just keep it simple. There are those who argue. There are those who cite. There are those who maintain. So a few words that we can avoid. Opine, plethora, to recapitulate. I don't want to see these words. So there are those who argue that this is nice, that by setting up the speed limit on vehicles, the percentage of accidents on the road can be mitigated. Again with percentage and mitigated, okay. I'm just going to leave that there. We don't set up a speed limit. And again, you're being very specific with the. So let's see what the question says. It's reducing, it's to further limit. There are those who argue that by not setting up, because it's already set up. If you look at the question, it's further limit. So it is already set up. We don't need to set it up. So I would say here by I'd say restricting. Let's put restricting. There are those who argue that by restricting the speed limit on vehicles, the percentage of accidents on the road can be mitigated. This is because if everyone is driving within the speed limit, then the probability of vehicles meeting with accidents could reduce, if not completely, but at least to an extent. Okay, a couple of things in this sentence. It's a common habit with some nationalities to use the present continuous. Now, we've got a conditional here, okay? We've got if. And we're talking about a cause and a result. If everyone drives, no need to say is driving. It's not, this is, we're talking about a cause and result when we're not talking about a temporary thing now, okay? So if everyone drives within the speed limit, then the probability of vehicles meeting with accidents not could reduce, could be reduced. The passive structure. If not completely, but at least to an extent. To cite an example, in the UK, the British government has set the speed limit to 60 kilometers per hour, and if their citizens are not following, again with the present continuous, so that's inaccurate, if their citizens do not follow. So it's a fact, it's not a temporary thing that's happening now. This rule, then they have to pay high challans. I don't know what challans means. I would say then they have to pay. I would even say better to say then they, not have to pay, use passive, to be fined. Then they are fined. So to pay a fine, maybe that's what challans means. Let me see if there are any questions. Restricting, Aisha, yep, further reducing, having, okay. Good, so. Now, because we've got too many words here, Mohammed, we actually want to maybe find situations where we can reduce the word count because you need time for your task one as well. So I'm looking here and I see, therefore, people in the UK drive at the expected limit as per the authorities. Well, that's as per the authorities, that's completely irrelevant, redundant. Hence, the rate of accidents in the UK has massively declined after the implementation. So I would say, then they are fined. I would actually then they are fined. I would delete all of that because you've kind of got two result sentences. And I would say, yeah, I would just say consequently or hence. I'd even say as a result would be better there. As a result, the rate of accidents in the UK has. Okay, is that okay? Does that, I don't like to change your essays too much, but those two sentences were almost a little bit similar. It was like therefore and then hence. So, okay, nevertheless, now, what Mohammed has done very well here, he's done the two body paragraphs and he's done the opposite view in the first body paragraph, which is exactly what you should do. And then you write the view that you agree with. So you should be, ideally, it's easier if you agree with one view. And then you write that in the second body paragraph, and then you reflect that in your topic sentence. So let's see. Nevertheless, I believe that the best way to resolve this issue is through a regular driving test. Wonderful. Really good topic sentence. Now, I work with an examiner, and if I sent this to him, I can tell you what he would say. He would say, it's maybe a bit too specific. Nevertheless, I believe there are more effective ways to tackle this issue. First and foremost is a regular driving test. But I like yours, Mohammed. I think it's very good. It is not uncommon that, I teach this phrase a lot. It is not uncommon for, not that. It is not uncommon for people to. So not uncommon for object to. It is not uncommon for people to forget things often. Okay, and by conducting a driving test, a regular, because remember it's regular, that a regular driving test, it will be a reiteration to them. This would also enable them to retain such rules in mind, thereby could. So, because it's a long essay, we're trying to find ways to reduce the words. Look at this sentence, it's very similar. It's very similar to the previous sentence. So it will be a reiteration to them, and then this would also enable them to retain such rules in mind. I actually think, now you're always, if I'm doing someone's feedback and they don't want to publicly disagree with me, you're very, very welcome to just send me a message and say, I want that sentence or whatever. So I think this sentence is redundant. I don't think we need it. It is not uncommon. It will be a reiteration to them. This would also enable them to retain. Well, the reiteration is the retention. It will be a reiteration to them. I tell you what, we'll put here. Helping drivers to retain the rules. Okay, there you go. So we're going to just add that. And we're going to delete that. Okay, the best example of this is countries such as Australia and New Zealand. These countries conduct yearly driving tests for their citizens. Great example. And this has not only helped their citizens to remember driving rules, the driving rules for a long time. Who's watching that knows inversion? And also, if you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. And if you're watching live, put hashtag live. So I can see how many this has helped. Right. So inversion. Mohammed has used inversion here. These countries conduct yearly driving tests for their citizens, and this has not only helped their citizens to remember the driving rules for a long time, comma, but so what's the rule with inversion? There are two clauses. You've got the not only clause. Okay, not only. And then you've got the second clause with but, and also, but you need a subject and you need the verbs to be the same. So Mohammed, you said helped. And the verb form is has, so it's got to be the same verb form. But it has also reduced. Okay, so you want the subject, you were missing the subject in the second clause in inversion. So not only, and then the second clause, you want subject and has, if you're following the same verb form, and then you want the same verb form. Reduced the accidents on the road to a greater, reduced, I would say reduced the number of and then I would finish that there. Oh, and then you're trying an inverted conditional. Oh my goodness, everyone look at this. Had it not been that the number, okay, that's not quite accurate. Had it not been that the number of acts would be high without, okay, I see what you're what's trying to happen here. Had it not been for this implementation, that's the rules. Had it not been for this is, I wouldn't try this. You can get band 9 without doing a very complicated sentence like this because you've not got it quite right. Had it not been for this implementation, comma, the number of accidents might be as high as in other countries. Now, this is a mixed conditional with inversion that you were trying. You've got it wrong. So you either need extreme practice with that or just don't worry. Just, you know, as a result or and actually the had it not been, that's the third, and that's not correct. We're talking about the past. If it weren't, this is, if it weren't, here we go. We want to talk about the imaginary present, which is the second conditional. That's better. If it weren't for this implementation, or were it not, you wanting to do the inversion, had it not. So were it not, we could say. Okay, Mohammed, have you got any comments there? Ah, there you go. Had it not been for yearly driving tests, the number of accidents on the road would be much higher. Okay, so in your example there, Mohammed, that means that it's finished. These yearly driving tests are finished. That's very much the past. But we're actually talking about the present. They continue now. So this is a situation that's continuing to happen. So therefore, I believe that we need the second conditional, which talks about unreal in the present. Does that make sense? Because you said had it not been, that means that these driving tests are finished. And Aisha, exactly. So you're talking about the third as well, would have been higher. That means that in the past, but we're actually talking about this. The example that Mohammed gave was that these countries conduct yearly driving tests. So this is in the present. Okay, so we need to reflect that it's in the present. If it were not for this implementation, the number of accidents might be as high. Okay, so it needs to be in the present because it's happening now. even though it started in the past, it's happening now. Okay, really good. So I'd like to point out some great things about this essay first, because when I make corrections, the essay always looks messy, like I have lots of problems with it. So Mohammed, you need to practice inversion and to think carefully about which conditional you're using, if it's about the present or the past. The great thing about this essay is the task response. So I really think this is an excellent idea, supported by excellent examples. It's a wonderful idea about the yearly driving tests. So lots of students really worry about ideas. And I often say that you need to read essays to collect ideas, essays that have got good ideas. So I want you all, to collect this idea of Mohammed's, that restricting the speed limit, if you disagree, is not the only way to reduce accidents, and that countries should implement yearly driving tests, okay? And his example is Australia and New Zealand, that are countries which do this, and they have experienced a reduction in accidents, okay? So I might even give a prize to anyone who writes this in the group afterwards this evening. I might post a question and tag you all. Do you agree that reducing the speed limits is going to reduce accidents? Okay, so it's a great idea. I wonder where Mohammed, where did you get your idea from? Because was this from yourself, or are you just reading and formulating ideas as you go? Okay, so conclusion, and I've got issues with the conclusion as well. So in conclusion, while people may vary in their opinions, now this is something I was talking to someone in the academy about. What we do is in the first week, we clarify how the conclusion should be. I believe that the government plays a crucial role to decrease the number of accidents on the road by taking, right. Okay, there's some inaccuracies here. Okay, so Mitu, reliable websites. I'm going to post on this. I'll post in the comments. IELTS Buddy and Road Bright Light has been recommending IELTS Charlie and Maca. Now, there are a few issues with this conclusion. In the conclusion, you have to summarize both views. Tell me, is the first view being summarized in this conclusion? Let's have a look at his first view. Oh, Wafa, it's so great to see you. Oh, that's so lovely. Tell us about your life now that you passed and you got your 7. So this is actually, and I'm going to make a training about this. This is a very common strategy, and it's incorrect. In a discuss both views essay, in the conclusion, some people just say, while some people disagree, I believe this. But what you need to do for your task response is actually to summarize. Okay, so while reducing the speed limit reduces may reduce accidents. So you've got to summarize the view. You can't just say some people disagree. There are different views. You have to say, what is the view? In some countries, I believe that the government plays a crucial role. Now, role in English, when we learn a word, we always need to learn what's the preposition, what's the verb form that comes after it. So does anybody know what the correct preposition for after roll is? Tayaba, and please tell me how to, thank you, Anas. Yes, IELTS Charlie, IELTS Buddy, thank you. Anas, did you give someone a band 8 score in the group earlier? Speak up now. In, Sai, very good. So after roll, we need in, and then we want ing, in decreasing. Oh. Anas, I'm waiting for your response. Maybe it wasn't you, but I think it was you. The number of accidents on the road by taking regular driving tests. Now, the government. Is the government going to take the driving test? We take an exam. Does the government need to take the test? What's the best way that we can write that? No, the government doesn't take the test. The government gives the test. So you can say give or you can say implement. By implementing regular driving tests. Okay, so great essay, Mohammed. So three things grammar-wise that I would like us all to focus on. So don't use the present. Actually, it's very, very rare that we even need to use the present continuous in an IELTS task 2 essay, but be careful about using present continuous when talking about facts. Okay, you need to use the present simple. When people do this, this happens. Not when people are doing this. Okay, present simple. And then revise conditionals, and I would avoid that complex kind of inverted conditional at the end. Task response is great. It you're let down a little bit in the conclusion by actually not summarizing the view. But according to me, your task response is 7.5 or 8. Your coherence and cohesion is... So there are some sentences here that were just like redundant. I think they were just a lot of like repetition, therefore and therefore. Anas, thank you for saying you scored band 8. Please don't do that. It wasn't a band 8 essay and I haven't got time to give her feedback. So if you're going to give any band score, I'd like you please to tell me your qualifications and also to give proper feedback to support your band score. But thank you. I want to thank you for interacting in the group, but I don't want anyone giving band scores because it's misleading for the students unless you are a trainer. It has also reduced. So coherence and cohesion, kind of, I'm going to give you a 7 for coherence and cohesion. Brilliant introduction, wonderful topic sentences, but then kind of in the summaries of the essays, it got a bit like confused. You mixed up conditionals in the second body paragraph. The first body paragraph, there's a bit of repetition. Let's have a look at his lexical resource. Can anyone identify some good collocations? conduct a driving test. Very good. Yeah, Mitu said the number, and and he said the percentage as well. Sometimes number is number. You could say the amount of accidents. No, you can't, because it's countable. It's uncountable even. Right. According to me, this essay is a 6.5. So which means that I have to kind of score it like this. I like the task response very, very much. So for your practice, Mohammed, I would concentrate on slightly shorter body paragraphs. Now, I'm going to be posting a Band 8 essay that's been marked by an examiner. And also I'm doing the training next week. And that I'd like you to sign up for. And I think that's it. So yeah, due to the volume, I'm unable to give feedback on every essay, but I hope this has been beneficial for you. So we'll just revise the great things about this essay. Really great introduction. While some believe this, others believe that, in my opinion. Great. Great topic sentence. To begin, there are those who argue that, and we don't use a pine. Okay. And then nevertheless, I believe that the best way to resolve this issue is through a regular driving test. Great. This is because, I would say this is because here. Okay, any final questions? And I'm going to go. Right, lovely, lovely to see you. Great job, Mohammed. Keep us posted with your work when you do your exam. And if you have any questions or disagree, then you can send me a message. Bye.